For fans of Martin Scorsese's epic film Goodfellas, you are undoubtedly aware of the killing of one Tommy DeSimone, famously portrayed by Joe Pesci. There are dozens of deep-dive reports into the events surrounding the murder. All the reports, for the most part, all share the same general information, with some conflicting accounts depending on who is telling the story. In this video, we will explore yet another layer of intrigue that surrounds this event. We will venture deeper within La Cosa Nostra's infrastructure and unveil interfamily politics and alliances that will shed more light on this infamous hit. In the film, the character Paul Cicero, portrayed by the late Paul Sorvino, represents the real-life mobster and capo in the Luchese crime family. Paul Vario, the Luchese family, is one of the 5 New York families. This family also holds a seat on the Commission, the governing body for the entire American Mafia. Tommy DeSimone was an associate under Paul Vario and part of the Luchese family. The other player in this drama is William "Billy" Bats Bentvina, portrayed in the film by Frank Vincent. In real life, Bentvina is a member of the Gambino family, another of the 5 New York families. We will skip over the animosity and conflict between DeSimone and Bentvina because the film already depicts it and it is general knowledge at this point. We will instead focus on the 2 families that were impacted by this incident between Tommy and Billy, the Lucheses and the Gambinos. As I mentioned earlier, both the Gambinos and the Lucheses were members of the 5 families of New York and members of the Commission. Since its founding, the main function of the Commission was to promote peace amongst the families in order to increase revenue, because conflict and war is bad for business. By virtue of this constitution alone, it is enough to sentence Tommy DeSimone to death for his actions. However, the inter-family connection goes even deeper. Amongst the 5 families of New York, the Gambinos and the Lucheses were exceptionally close allies. They cooperated together on multiple rackets. Yet beyond their business relationship, they shared another unbreakable bond. Carlo Gambino was known for using archaic methods of creating alliances. In this case, he used marriage to further the bond between the Gambinos and Lucheses. He arranged the marriage of his oldest son, Tommy Gambino, to the daughter of Tommy Luchese, Frances Luchese. At the time of the DeSimone killing in 1979, both Carlo Gambino, patriarch of the Gambino family, and Tommy Luchese, patriarch of the Luchese family, had both passed away. Gambino in 1976 and Luchese in 1967. However, the alliance still remained strong in the 70s when the bulk of the events of Goodfellas took place. Paul Castellano, first cousin and brother-in-law to Carlo Gambino, took over as boss of the Gambinos and is in fact an uncle to Tommy Gambino. Tommy Gambino himself became a well-respected member of the crime family and one of its top earners respectively. In the 70s, the boss of the Luchese family was Anthony "Tony Ducks" Corallo, former driver and bodyguard to Tommy Luchese. So consequently, due to his vicinity to Tommy Luchese, he was naturally very close to the domestic Luchese family and undoubtedly close to Frances Luchese. The Goodfellas film does point out that Billy Bats Bentvina was in fact a made member of the Gambinos and Tommy DeSimone was not yet a made member of the Lucheses. That alone is reason enough for DeSimone's killing. But if you listen to the narration by Henry Hill,
it was revenge for Billy Bats. And a lot of other things.
And that's that.
And there was nothing that we could do about it.
When Henry Hill said, "a lot of other things," he is for one referring to the particularly exceptional alliance between the Gambino and Luchese families. But on a more personal level, Uncle Paul Castellano would be protective over the union of his nephew Tommy Gambino, and the other hand, Uncle Tony Corallo would be protective over the union of his departed boss's daughter, Frances Luchese. So, even if the incident between Tommy DeSimone and Billy Bats could have been litigated, ultimately, it could not exist in isolation, and Tommy DeSimone had no hope of escaping his fate.